up in New York City, and my mother, Stephanie Queller, was a beautiful, glamorous fashion designer. She looked like Jacqueline Bisset. I always say my mother was wearing Manolos while Sarah Jessica Parker was still in diapers. My mother was a pioneer of her generation. She balanced a powerful career with a marriage and 2 daughters, and she was a health nut. She ran 6 miles every morning along the Hudson River, and then she'd throw on her Manolos and Armani and jump on the subway and go to work in the fashion district. At age 51, my mother was blindsided by breast cancer. None of us had any idea at the time what cancer was going to mean. We learned quickly: chemotherapy, mouth sores, wretched illness, the loss of her beautiful, long, dark hair. But my mother was a fighter, she was a force of nature, and with the help of excellent doctors, she beat the cancer. 6 years later, at the age of 58, my mother was struck by another primary cancer, this time ovarian cancer. Our family was stunned. We could not believe our bad luck. What were the odds of her developing 2 separate primary cancers? But my mother's will to live was fierce. She had beaten cancer once, and she was determined to beat it again. But this time, the disease was too vicious. Her suffering was indescribable. There was nothing about my mother's death from cancer that was peaceful or dignified like we see in the movies. She, on the last day of her life, her lungs filled with fluid, and my sister, father, and I stood helpless and aghast as she drowned with every breath. My mother died on September 20th, 2003, almost exactly 8 years ago today. And her last words were, "This is against my will." A year after my mother's death, I was 34 years old, and I moved to Los Angeles to pick up the pieces of my own life, and I got a wonderful new job writing for the TV show The Gilmore Girls. And I wanted to start going on dates and fall in love and have a family and be normal, and I had all these things that I hadn't done, like got my teeth cleaned and whatever else during those caretaking years. And on the laundry list of things I had to get done, I had to take this cancer test for the breast cancer gene, otherwise the BRCA mutation. In 2004, the genetic test for the BRCA mutation was not well known, and since my mother was the only person in our family with cancer, I was certain that I wouldn't have it. I took it like someone would take an AIDS test every 10 years just for the clean bill of health to know that you're fine. I was shocked when I tested positive for the BRCA mutation. I went to see a genetic counselor, and she was the first person to tell me that I had up to a 90% chance of developing breast cancer, most likely before the age of 50. She was also the first person to tell me that the gold standard for preventing breast cancer with the BRCA mutation was removing your breasts and your ovaries in a preemptive strike. I was outraged. I could not believe that this woman was telling me right after my mother died. I was barely 34, single, wanted to fall in love, wanted to have a family. Did she really just suggest that I remove my breast when I don't have cancer? Was she insane? At the time, obviously, I thought the genetic counselor was outrageous, and I would never, ever, ever, ever do anything like that. I planned on blocking the whole subject out until much later in my life, after I had kids and sorted things out. But my best friend from college did an intervention of sorts. She wrote for the op-ed page of the New York Times, and she tricked me. She called me and said, "How would you like to write an op-ed piece about testing positive for the BRCA mutation?" And since I am a writer, my ambition, went off and was like, "Oh my God, me write an op-ed piece for the New York Times? I'll become an expert. I'll learn everything there is about it." So I started doing my research for this article, which of course was really about my life. the more I learned, the more I realized that I was in big trouble. I started to learn about the countless women in their 30s and even 20s who carried this gene, who got cancer, and many of whom died. And I started to grasp that the reality was, if I didn't take some action, I was statistically assured of getting the disease that had just killed my mother. So I went to see the oncologist. I asked the oncologist, listen, if I were your wife, if I were your daughter, what would you tell me to do? And I was horrified when the response was, I don't know what to tell you. There is no set protocol for people with the BRCA gene. It is a brand new test. It's been around for 10 years, and it's a case of science outpacing our ability to know what to do with the data. So basically, they could tell me that I was almost definitely going to get cancer, but the medical profession could only offer me two options: surveillance, which meant watching and waiting for the cancer to strike and hoping that we caught it early, or removing my breasts and ovaries. I struggled with that decision for every minute of every day for a year, and then in September of 2005, at the age of 35, I had a prophylactic double mastectomy. I hadn't had the chance to fall in love or sort my life out. I desperately wanted a child, but I knew I also had to quickly get my ovaries out. So I went to the sperm bank, and I had a baby on my own. And I removed my ovaries right afterwards. And my beautiful, beautiful daughter, Sophie is 23 months old. Although my options were imperfect, I am so grateful for the advancements in medical science that came up with the BRCA genetic test. That test empowered me with the knowledge that would save my own life, and my sister's as well. She too tested positive and had prophylactic surgery. Medical advancements spared us from our mother's terrible fate. When my mother was ill, I was seeing a therapist in New York. I'm a Jewish girl from New York, and we all see therapists. And Dr. Mark Epstein, of course, said to me one day, Jessica, your mother is going to die of cancer. There is nothing you can do about it except bear witness. I did that. I bore witness to my mother's tragic death. I want to bear witness to something else in my lifetime. I want to bear witness to new treatments and new drugs that come from the kind of research that's going on at Premier Oncology. I don't want my daughter to have to face the choices that I did. And more than anything, I wish that my daughter could have met her grandmother. Thank you.
Dedicated to my late grandmother who battled with breast cancer, and to my Uncle Tom who is currently overcoming his.